The American political stage has just erupted with a move no one saw coming. In a stunning 50-46 vote, the United States Senate has officially passed legislation rejecting President Donald Trump's tariffs on Canada, a decision that could send shockwaves through Washington, Ottawa, and far beyond. This is not just another political skirmish. This is the Senate, including some of Trump's own allies, openly defying the President of the United States over one of his most aggressive trade policies yet. And tonight, we break down the full story, how it happened, why it matters, and what this could mean for both the US and Canada moving forward. It started quietly on Capitol Hill this week. Behind closed doors, senators debated whether Trump's use of national emergency powers to impose tariffs on Canada had gone too far. By invoking those powers, the president had bypassed Congress, claiming that Canada, of all nations, posed an economic threat to U.S. interests because of alleged illegal drug trafficking across the northern border. But according to official reports, less than 1% of fentanyl seizures this year came from Canada, a fact that many lawmakers used to challenge the president's justification. Still, the real drama came when a bipartisan group of senators, led by Democrat Tim Kaine of Virginia and joined by libertarian-leaning Republican Rand Paul, forced a vote to terminate Trump's emergency tariffs. The result? A narrow but decisive rebuke of the president's trade authority. Senator Kaine told reporters that Republicans were finally realizing the damage tariffs were doing to American consumers, and especially to farmers across the Midwest. Higher prices, retaliatory tariffs, family farms closing down, how long can they ignore that? Kaine said. And indeed, the pressure has been building. Soybean farmers, whiskey producers, and small manufacturers have all felt the sting of Canada's retaliatory measures. Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell, once one of Trump's most dependable allies, said the tariffs had turned agricultural income upside down, and warned that Kentucky's bourbon industry was being crushed under the weight of the trade war. He wasn't alone. Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Rand Paul, and even McConnell himself sided with Democrats to pass the resolution. It was a rare moment of bipartisanship, and a clear signal that patience with Trump's trade tactics is wearing thin. But there's another layer to this story, one that's sparking conspiracy theories and late-night speculation across Washington. Sources close to the White House claim that Trump's anger didn't begin with tariffs, it began with a television ad. Yes, an ad. A commercial aired by the province of Ontario used the words of former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, criticizing tariffs and calling for fair and free trade. Trump, reportedly furious, saw it as a personal attack. According to one insider, the president felt humiliated that Canada was using Reagan's legacy, one of his conservative heroes, against him. That same week, he announced plans to raise tariffs on Canadian goods by another 10%. For many in Congress, that was the last straw. As the vote was happening, President Trump was more than 6,000 miles away, in Asia, meeting with trade partners and boasting that America will no longer be taken advantage of. But back home, his own Senate had just dealt him one of the sharpest political rebukes of his presidency. Vice President J.D. Vance, who reportedly attended a closed-door luncheon to convince Republicans to back off, failed to shift the tide. Even Trump's strongest allies seemed exhausted. One unnamed Republican senator told reporters off-record, "It feels like we're fighting our friends instead of our enemies." Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has stayed remarkably calm through the chaos. Behind the scenes, his government has been working to open new trade channels with Asian partners to offset the losses caused by the American tariffs. But privately, Carney has been reaching out to Trump, urging restraint and warning that the economic relationship between the two countries, worth over $900 billion a year, cannot afford to fracture further. According to leaked diplomatic cables, Carney told U.S. officials that Canada will not be bullied, and that any future negotiations must happen on equal footing. Some insiders even claim that a secret call between Carney and Trump turned heated when Trump accused Canada of meddling in American media. While these claims remain unconfirmed, they've added a new layer of intrigue to an already volatile situation. And yet, this Senate vote might not change much, at least not immediately. Because even though the Senate has voted to end the tariffs, the House of Representatives, controlled by Trump loyalists, has adopted new rules preventing such resolutions from even coming to a vote. And even if a bill somehow made it through Congress, Trump could simply veto it. So the tariffs technically remain, for now. But politically? The damage is done. This is the first time in years that a significant number of Republicans have joined Democrats to push back on the president's trade agenda. It signals a growing unease within the GOP, a quiet recognition that Trump's "America First" approach may be backfiring economically and diplomatically. Meanwhile, Canadians are watching closely. With their economy heavily dependent on exports to the U.S., many fear that the ongoing trade war could spiral into something far worse. Already, Canadian manufacturing has slowed, lumber exports have dipped, and farmers are struggling with price instability. And then there's the whisper of something even more dramatic. According to several Canadian media outlets, a small group of MPs in Alberta has begun calling for a referendum if Trump continues to escalate trade penalties, a symbolic protest suggesting that Canada should reconsider its economic dependence on the U.S. While few expect this to gain real traction, it's a stark reminder of how fragile this once unshakable partnership has become. In Washington, Trump loyalists are striking back. They accuse Democrats of trying to undermine the president's negotiations in Asia and claim that the Senate's vote sends a signal of weakness to America's trade rivals. Senator Mike Crapo, chair of the Senate Finance Committee, urged Congress to stay out of the way and let Trump finish his deals. But with midterm elections approaching and public opinion turning sharply against tariffs, many lawmakers seem unwilling to stay silent any longer. Still, some political analysts warn that this vote could be part of a larger strategy, not a defeat. According to one theory circulating in D.C., Trump might actually be encouraging the backlash to pressure Canada into signing a better trade deal. If Canada believes Congress might overturn Trump's policies, the thinking goes, it could push Ottawa to negotiate faster. Whether or not that's true, one thing is certain. This vote has changed the tone of the trade war entirely. For the first time, Congress has drawn a line, and even some of Trump's own allies are standing on the other side of it. As of tonight, the situation remains fluid. Trump's team insists the tariffs are staying. Democrats vow to keep forcing votes to roll them back. And behind the scenes, Canadian officials are preparing for whatever comes next, whether that's compromise or confrontation. Prime Minister Carney has already hinted that Canada may consider retaliatory steps if the White House moves forward with new tariff hikes. But he's also called for calm, saying, "This partnership has survived a century of challenges, and it will survive this one too." So what happens next? Will Trump double down on tariffs to prove he's still in charge? Will the Senate's rebellion trigger a larger split inside the Republican Party? Or will both sides quietly strike a deal to calm the markets before things spiral further? For now, no one knows. But one thing is certain, the U.S.-Canada relationship, one of the most important on Earth, is being tested like never before. And as the dust settles from this historic Senate vote, both nations are left asking the same question. How far will Trump go, and who will stop him?